Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judge Mode. Chelsea, no wins in 5. They're very lucky that Man City bottled the lead against Brentford, to be honest, because Man City would have been closing on them. Reece James off the bench, saving the day for Chelsea. Well, Enzo Maresca late in the subs again, leaving Enzo Fernandez by himself in the middle, leaving Caicedo by himself after subbing out Lavia as well in the first half. After Lavia played all right, we'll talk to Dan about that as well. And again, a midfield in the second half that is run through by Bournemouth. Again, a midfield that is not good enough to start Bournemouth transition football and Bournemouth midfield, which we saw in that penalty and we saw in the goals that they scored, the Semenyo goal as well. The midfield is wide open for Chelsea again. Liverpool, on the other hand, dropped 2 points at Nottingham Forest. Yes, they saved the point by Jota. However, in my opinion, Hussam released the video and said that a good performance. But in my opinion, it wasn't a good performance. Salah, stinker. Absolute stinker today. Missed a lot of chances, Salah, today. And Man City bottled the lead. Arsenal must capitalize tomorrow, without a shadow of a doubt. But listen, we'll talk about it. We'll analyze the games. We'll talk about why do Chelsea need to actually stop targeting wingers and young players, and they need to go and get a number 9 that will put the ball in the back of the net, because Nicola Jackson, even though he had a magnificent assist, he stunk up the pitch after missed 2 sitters that could have put Chelsea out of sight in that first half. Enzo Maresca could not put the ball in the back of the net himself, but also that is his player that he relied on. He could have used Nkunku earlier. He could have used someone else. And if Palmer doesn't score, who scores for Chelsea? That is the best. That's the biggest question. Liverpool, we'll talk about it, because now 2 points of 2 games, they're dropping points. Can Arsenal capitalize? We'll talk about that as well. But listen, we got to start. How's everyone doing? Look at the glum faces. Nobody won.
All right.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
I'm good.
Nobody won. Hit that like button, people. Let's get to 100 like right off the bat. Let me know in the chat what you think. Let me know after the video what you think. I'm going to start with Dan. I saw your short video about now you must buy a striker.
Yeah. I think it's got to the point where we can no longer rely on Nicholas Jackson as our sole number 9. I think Maresca is quite literally putting his job on the line with the fact that that's his number 9 and that's his only option. And I think ultimately he needs to go to the board and say, you need to bring me in another striker, because I think it's got that bad. I think he was fantastic in the build-up for Cole Palmer's goal, but then literally minutes later misses an absolute sitter. And throughout then the rest of the game, I felt like he just disappeared after his confidence went. And I actually then think he didn't really have much more of an impact. I think he hit the post after that, and then we really didn't see much more of him. He didn't look like a striker that was ever going to win us the game after that moment. Very, very concerning times for Chelsea in the Premier League right now.
Yeah, very, very concerning. Listen, also the midfield. We have to speak about having Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer in the middle together. They get run to.
I like it.
No, offensively, it looks fantastic. Enzo Fernandez looks good. Defensively, it's suspect. Again, the midfield is wide open. If you watch that second goal, Caicedo, after Lavia went out, is trying to cover abundance of spaces by himself, because he's by himself in the middle. That doesn't work. In the Premier League, that doesn't work. Especially because we have teams like Bournemouth are very good in transition, very good in picking up the passes. It doesn't work against the Brighton. It doesn't work against a lot of teams. Ipswich as well in transition. And it's on Enzo Maresca to find the solution, in my opinion, because that midfield is not good enough defensively. Might look good going for, but it's not good defensively.
Yeah, I think it's an issue. I think that's probably why he brought Reece James on to kind of play that role. But for me, Enzo Maresca's constant reliance on inverting his fullbacks is actually causing him a real issue. I just think that if you aren't so reliant on your fullback going into midfield, you would then actually have to deploy a midfielder there to then have 2 midfielders. And then you can have a fullback that is completely focused on stopping attacks down the side of his pitch. And I think you can quite clearly see on that goal that Semenyo scores, the similarities in Fulham when they beat us a few weeks ago, and the fact that they overloaded on that left-hand side as well, or their left-hand side, and caused issues again. I think it's becoming an issue for him, and I think teams are starting to suss him out. I think he has to be a bit more flexible with that, because I think the fact that he thinks he's got a midfielder covering, a fullback covering in midfield, when actually it really just causes more issues, is causing him, I mean, to literally lose points now.
Is Enzo Maresca being found out, Mac?
A little bit, I think. I don't think it's harsh to say that. I think we're seeing similarities in the way teams are now beating or scoring goals against Chelsea. I mean, I know we've drawn tonight, but he got incredibly lucky. I don't think people are completely against me with what I've said on my TikTok. They think Enzo Maresca coached a win. And I have to say, in the first half, potentially he coached a Chelsea lead. But I think when the game can swing like that and that much of a momentum shift can happen, I don't think he's coached a win. I think he would have put Chelsea in the lead, but would have potentially still left Chelsea vulnerable at times.
Yeah, I think so. And anybody else? I know that everyone watched their game. I watched the 3 games, to be honest.
I thought Chelsea were unlucky not to get a red card. Like, that's a red card all day long. You can't do that.
Which one?
David Brooks by his hair. Him, yeah.
Like, he pulled him by his hair. It's a red card. Like,
he didn't. Absolutely, he didn't.
I thought
he clotheslined him, Mo. He
He didn't put he put his arm around his neck or his shoulder or whatever. He blocked him. But so was it Cucurella in the first half. He literally took the wind out of the guy without him looking.
Yeah, I think that's
what by the way, I don't think it's a red. The fact that the referee went to the monitor and didn't think it was a red, there wasn't a conclusive evidence that it's a red. I don't think Chelsea should complain about this. Because Cucurella in the first half still literally went with the guy without the ball and hit him in his chest without the guy looking. It's the same. It's without the ball, it's off the ball. And I think Chelsea can complain. By the way, and I don't know the rules, why Brooks got a yellow card. You cannot VAR a yellow card.
Yeah, I have to say that is a good idea, but I didn't think that was part of the rules. I was well shocked when the ref pulled out a yellow.
Because if it's either a red or you missed it and it's a no call.
Yeah, because that happened to us against Tottenham with who committed that foul, which was who's the Swedish guy?
By the way, guys, I just waited and I watched it again.
Bergvall
didn't get his hair pulled.
Yeah, Bergvall.
So if they can do that with Brooks, they should have done that with Bergvall.
I actually would like to see that going forwards, by the way. I don't think it always has to be a red. And I think actually if the referee can go to the monitor and say, look, I've missed that. It probably is just a yellow, though. Removes a little bit of this drastic edge that VAR has to it. And he can come over and be quite sensible and say, look, it's a yellow. I'm not going to send you off for that. I'm not going to ruin the game. The monitor,
I agree. I
missed something.
But the rules are the rules. But the rules are the rules, though. But the rules, I agree with you, Dan. But the rules are the rules. These shouldn't have given Brooks a yellow.
No, we shouldn't have.
Oh, well, he gave him a yellow after.
Yeah, went to the monitor and then gave him a yellow instead of everyone was expecting the red, and he pulls out a yellow.
I didn't think that was. I didn't think you could get a yellow. I think it was either serious foul play or whatever they call it, violent conduct, red card, or nothing.
I think that would be a really good addition to the game. I have to say. I think had Cucurella not done what he did in the first half, probably could have been a red card, I think. But because Cucurella had done something and it went unpunished, I think that's why the ref didn't see it fit to send him off. Because I think they started talking about intent and whether it was violent conduct. But I don't know. Some people are saying it's a hair pull, but I haven't quite seen enough of it.
I actually seen it many times. Yes, his hair is flying. There was no evidence that he pulled his hair, by the way. There was no angle.
That is to be subjective, like not to be for one team and for the other team. It's supposed to be about the rules. So it doesn't matter if you didn't give a yellow card for the first tackle. If the second one is a yellow card, they get a yellow card. Like
I agree with this, by the way, but
I just have to say something.
We all know refs are objective to the situation in the teams.
I have to say something. Cucurella is a rat.
Was for.
Let's just establish something here. Cucurella is becoming one of the rats of the Premier League. Rolling on the ground, kicking players when they're not looking. You literally sucker punch the guy with your shoulder to his chest or whatever you did without the guy looking. The guy couldn't get up. And again, Cucurella being a rat. You can talk about him being a good player or not a good player. He's a rat. You don't do that to a player without looking. You don't go with your shoulder to his ribs without him looking. He is a rat. And I I was fuming, by the way. If that was against my team, I would be fuming. To be honest.
I'm watching this. I'm watching this replay with
used to do that.
Cucurella. It doesn't look a little bit. If you look at it in slow motion, it does look a little bit like his hair gets pulled because his head goes, but his hair follows. And if he has grabbed his hair, that is a red card.
That is a red card. He's literally a
Red card.
victim, isn't he, of a hair pull consistently now? It's like 3 times if it is. I have to say, I think what Chelsea fans need to be careful of doing is we can't blame the result on the fact that Bournemouth should have lost David Brooks potentially for a hair pull or not. I think Chelsea ultimately, by that point, were probably struggling to get back on top of that game. So I don't think we can blame the ref there for Chelsea's fact that we were losing.
Yeah, why do
2-1 like that.
a lot of people
4-1.
actually are actually saying, "Oh, Chelsea were robbed. We should have been playing against 10 men." And I'm like, I completely disagree. Completely disagree with them.
I just posted in the private chat. I just posted a closer up, zoomed in video where you can, and it's not clear, right? So that's the thing. You can't, because it's really pixelized, and in that.
By the
instance,
way, he didn't pull his
hair.
hair. He put his hair around his head, and maybe his hand got stuck in his hair. He didn't pull his hair. His hand. You have to watch it before that.
We can't see from that distance. You can't see whether somebody has grabbed their hair, but all you can see is that the hair gets kind of like. It goes in the slightly unnatural. Anyway, why are we talking about hair? This is a bit weird, but anyway,
it's a bit weird. Listen, guys, can we get before we go on, guys? Can we get to 100 likes? We almost have 300 people here. We're not even on 100 likes. Hit that like button. It's okay. I like just hit that like button. The hair thing, whatever. It's the game itself. I want us to focus on the game because I think this Chelsea team are in danger at the current moment. They aren't flowing like in the beginning of the season.
Well, Newcastle, if they win their game in hand, if Newcastle win their game in hand, then they go ahead of Chelsea. It looks like top 5 is going to get Champions League football this season, so I wouldn't expect Chelsea to finish outside the top 5. But Newcastle certainly have momentum.
Yeah, 100%. And Chelsea should be looking at themselves like you had this in your hand. 5 games now. You literally got like 3 points out of 5 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 3 points out of the last possible 15, I think it is. So it's
that's
really
not good enough.
Wow.
I think people need to obviously against
one stage.
Yeah, well, we were obviously being mentioned to be in a title race, and we've just kind of. I mean, if you look at that 3 points from a possible 15? Maresca obviously threw away an 18-point lead for Leicester at one point last season. Ooh. Arguably there, he's already thrown away 12 points for Chelsea. So it's like he learned his lessons from previous. And people are getting, I can see it in the chat, and I've seen it already tonight on social media. People are getting on Nicholas Jackson's back, and I actually think rightly so. Arguably, he's missed some big chances today. But Chelsea conceded 2 goals. That's not on Jackson. That's on the manager not seeing the momentum change in the game, seeing his opposing manager make tactical adjustments that were going to get his team back into it, ultimately conceding a penalty and then actually conceding a fantastic finish from Bournemouth, Semenyo. But still, people need to see that, yes, Jackson could have scored us an extra goal in the first half, maybe an extra 2, but we still would have conceded goals in the second half because Maresca wasn't able to see the issues literally unraveling in front of his eyes.
And the thing is, okay, Nick Jackson got a lot of heat last season, and I felt really sorry for the kid. And when he started the season so well this year, I was really happy. He's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Chelsea player, just because of the amount of shit that he got last season, the fact that he turned around. Now, ultimately, with young players, they're going to have ups and downs. Their development is not going to be linear. Like, this is why I also said Gravenberch for us has had a spectacular season. But if he has, and I think there have been a few games more recently, not necessarily today, but where he hasn't been quite at the levels he has been. You're going to have off games, and unfortunately, it's more arguably a squad building issue because Chelsea have obviously invested a lot of money. Maybe, and again, Nkunku hasn't really turned out to be the player that Chelsea hoped. They've invested a lot of money in, so he's having to lead the line, carry the can, however you want to describe it, for this, multi-million, £100 million squad that Chelsea's assembled, and he's leading the line by himself, and that's a lot to place on a young kid's shoulders. And I think people will have a go because you saw at the weekend, like there are nasty people who watch football and they'll abuse people and they won't give them
Yeah.
second chance. They'll just take
Yeah.
people's shit, and that's awful. Just like we saw with Havertz, whether you like him or not, some of the abuse that Havertz got over the weekend, his girlfriend especially, that's ridiculous, right?
It is
But
ridiculous.
this is also, it's not his fault that Chelsea conceded those goals, and it's not his fault that maybe there are times when he needs to be taken out of the limelight and someone else needs to step in, and when he has his down games and there isn't anyone there.
I've got a question, Dan. Does he ever get subbed?
Yes.
It looks like
Yeah, he
plays.
does. I mean, and Kunku's had quite a few appearances off the bench
Yeah.
for him. Obviously, not tonight because obviously with all the drama going on with Nkunku, I think he decided not to bring him on. But ultimately, he's been removed at like 60, 70 minutes at periods in the last sort of 5 games, even for like Mark Gee to come on. But I just don't think the quality is there in Chelsea's squad in terms of another striker to challenge Jackson for that spot.
You put a lot of pressure on those two players, as in Jackson and Palmer, and they're both like 23, aren't they? Aren't they both?
Yeah,
like
they're
23?
young lads, and obviously,
they're
I
so
think
young.
you hit the nail on the head a minute ago. That Chelsea are going to have ups and downs with such a young squad and an inexperienced manager. It's going to happen. So it is almost unfair to put that much pressure on a couple of players, 1-2 players' heads to deliver consistently. I mean, the fact that Cole Palmer is able to do it with such ease just shows the level of the player he actually is.
Insane, he is.
I wanted to speak on a few players you guys haven't mentioned because I feel like, yeah, Chelsea have conceded a few times, but then again, the players on the wings, Jadon Sancho, his performance wasn't the worst today, but he doesn't score. And on the other side, Noni, for me, he has been poor for like the past 2 months. I think the last good game he had was probably against Wolves with the hat trick, and his decision making is poor. He
made a clear-cut chance today for Jackson, to be honest with you.
that one chance. I was gonna get onto Jackson as well, but I just think Noni Madueke and even Neto isn't reliable when he came on. So I think you should look on your wingers because with Liverpool you have Diaz scoring even this season. Salah, we all know he does his thing, and in the good days of Manchester City, it was the wingers providing goals as well. So I think you guys just rely too much on Cole Palmer, as already mentioned, and even Nicholas Jackson. And with Nicholas Jackson, I think it's just this reoccurring problem that he misses too many sitters. I think Everton game, you guys could have been up 2-0 in the first half or like first 60 minutes. Jackson had clear-cut chances. Fulham as well. And in the long run, it's just going to catch up with you guys. So
Takai, can you clarify what that means, please? What does that mean? Does anybody understand? What does that mean that Maresca's not helping them? Takai? Like, what does that mean? I don't understand. What does that mean?
They're both hot and cold wingers. All your wingers are hot and cold.
Yeah, I mean, none of them, not one of Chelsea's 4 wingers are renowned for their attacking output when it comes to goal scoring. They're not. Sancho is predominantly more known for his assists. Pedro Neto, I think, is a 1 in 10 goal scorer from wide areas his whole career. I think it's like something like 11, 12 goals in maybe 120 games. And who's the other one? Sorry. Oh, Madueke. I think he's a top scorer from wide areas this season, but he's got 5, and 3 of those came against the poorest Wolves side we've seen in a while. So, yeah, I think Chelsea have massive issues there. And I've been saying for a while that definitely adding in another goal scorer into this attacking lineup with the amount of possession we have at certain spells and the amount those players get on the ball would be really useful. I think that's why his failure to integrate Nkunku into the team is actually a bit of an issue for me, because I think Nkunku's capable of scoring 10 to 15 goals a season. I just don't think he's been used correctly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a winger either, by the way. I'm just saying I think there's a way to
he's probably a second striker, no?
Yeah, I'd agree.
How come after
2 secs, man.
Go ahead, good.
Can we also give a bit of credit to Bournemouth?
Yeah,
bloody good team under Iola.
Their 2 centre-backs are brilliant. They're very, very good. And then obviously going forward, Semenyo caused endless amounts of issues today.
I thought Tyler Adams had a magnificent game as well in that midfield.
Good. Very good.
Very good.
I think Tyler Adams, do you think he thrives, though, because of how athletic he is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
He's
I see
very
that.
athletic. The
I
guy runs his
I
ass off on
wanted
the
Tyler
pitch.
Adams. Like I wanted
Tyler
Tyler
Adams
Adams a couple
covers
of
a
seasons
lot
ago.
of ground on the pitch. A lot of ground on the pitch. He's someone that you can use in these games when you want to run after the Palmers, the Jacksons, the Maduekes. He was everywhere on the pitch. But we have to speak, like, to be honest with you, the Chelsea, it's going to sound so strange. After all this money, Chelsea would have killed today for a Semenyo on the pitch.
100%.
Imagine
Yeah.
all that money spent, and Chelsea would have killed for a Semenyo on the pitch.
Are you saying
all
he's
these
better than
wingers-
Madueke?
He's
Yes,
better than all your
yes.
wingers, with all due
I would
respect.
say so.
All your,
He's both
he's better
footed.
than all
he's
your
quick.
wingers. All
Right.
your wingers. And
Raps, you
also,
think that was an audition?
No,
he's
I actually don't. He'll
He's
go
the-
elsewhere, an audition for another team potentially.
No,
I
there's a
think
swap deal.
Arsenal
in the
need
making with
him.
Doak.
Arsenal need him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a swap deal
Yeah.
with Doak.
I can imagine him at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like that would be a really good signing for you.
Mm.
I think
be
actually, I think
honest-
Tom Little's been pushing for that for a while. To be
I
fair,
know he has.
yeah.
Semenyo, if Semenyo was at Chelsea today on that left side or right side, Chelsea would have won the game fair and square. Fair and square. He's very direct. His aim to the goal is superb. He's not a selfish player as well. He passes the ball around, plays 1-2s, and passes the ball and crosses all the time. He works really hard for the team. And that is a winger that maybe an Arsenal can use, Liverpool
Yeah.
or Chelsea.
Can I make
Today-
a suggestion just quickly though?
Can
in
I
terms of-
just add
Go
that?
on then,
Can I
Mike,
finish
go on.
that point? Just land that point. Today it showed the difference between the Chelsea wingers that they spent, as Dan said, and a winger like a Semenyo. A winger like Jadon Sancho, who's dribble. He's doing his best Luis Diaz impression. Dribble, and then you pass the ball, you don't shoot. He tried to shoot once, and he hit the player in front of him. Well, Semenyo, when he got one-on-one with the defender, bang, it's a goal. Madueke, yes, dribble, once created a chance, but then after this, you really couldn't help yourself and couldn't do anything to the team. Neto, when he came on, looked lost. Mudrik, we know that Mudrik is not there. A Semenyo today would have helped Cole Palmer and Jackson, in my opinion, because he's a winger that can score goals and has been effective. And that is why Chelsea maybe invested all that money. Maybe you needed a direct winger like that.
I think we have a solution in a wide area for goals. I think we have it. And if you were to say, I don't think he's exactly the same, but I think we saw last season how capable Cole Palmer is playing there. And I just think with who Chelsea have to play number 10 instead of him, I feel like the squad is better with Cole Palmer in the team, Madueke removed from the team, and someone like João Felix or Nkunku playing in the 10.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like Cole Palmer proved last season from the right, he's capable of putting up a stupid amount of goals, and actually he doesn't look uncomfortable there. I know he's not this touchline winger that Maresca's craving, but Chelsea's overlapping fullbacks on that right-hand side are probably 2 of 5 best in the league on their day. And I just think Maresca, by inverting them, has completely removed the threat that right-hand side had last season. And I actually think that's probably one thing Pochettino got right, was how that right-hand side operated last season because of the success they had.
Also, to be honest, your midfield is not balanced. I keep saying it over and over again. Chelsea's midfield is too offensive. You have only Lavia or Caicedo trying to defend. And when you invert someone to help them there, the wingers get exposed. That's why you got the wingers going on the fullbacks, going on the center backs, I'm sorry, because the fullback is not there. It's trying to cover the midfield. So there is always a hole gaping. And that is because, and people need to understand, I am not against Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez was arguably Chelsea's best player today. However, it is on Enzo Maresca to find the balance in that midfield. Maybe try a pivot, a double pivot, and play Enzo Fernandez in front of them. Maybe play a 3 midfield and play Palmer on the right. You don't have to shove Palmer in the middle, play Madueke, play Sancho, Jackson, and Enzo. Maybe try different. Maybe you don't have to go with all that.
I completely hear what you're saying, but I think it goes back to that whole point of Chelsea's current wide players not being enough of a threat in front of, and scoring and putting up the numbers, that he then feels like he has to push Enzo Fernandez forwards to try and accommodate for goals and attacking chances being created. And I think if you had
overlap
goals,
fullbacks.
I get that completely, but Maresca's got this ideology that he won't go away.
So he's wrong. So he's wrong.
And potentially
Yeah,
it's going to
he's
cause
wrong.
him a real issue. Yeah. Look, I'm not sitting here that I'm Maresca out, because I've seen this season Chelsea play good enough football that I haven't seen in the last 4 or 5 games that I think we could get back to with very minimal tweaks and probably some slight improvements in quality. And I think if I've seen him do it, I know the evidence is there. And that's why I'm not going to sit here and be like, he needs to go. But yeah, I think he could probably admit that he's wrong. Even like Pep would probably say, look, I got it wrong for a few games this season, but I've then sort of gone away, looked at it, changed it up. And I think that's what the best managers do. They're not afraid to go back to the drawing board and try again.
No, I agree. Like, the problem with this is that this can't keep going. As we said, they have to change it because teams are catching up to Chelsea.
It's becoming a little, and this is, I know if Rory sees this clip at all, he's going to love it. But Rory said a few weeks ago, I'm starting to get the feeling that Enzo Maresca is following the same path as Ange Postecoglou, because he started off the season so well, and then he's now refusing to adjust in moments that he needs to, and he's being so stubborn in his ways for his system that it's actually going to cause him an issue. And now we're actually seeing 5 games on the bounce. His system is starting to come undone a little bit. Teams are sussing it out and they're getting better results. And Rory said 10 games into the season, do Chelsea start to go the same sort of way that he did last season, Ange? And I think, do you know what? He might have a point.
Let me respond to this.
At the end of the day, though, like at the end of the day, if you get top 4 or top 5 and you win that
That's a good season for them.
that Europa Conference, that's an unbelievable season.
Yeah.
I actually think it's on top.
Unbelievable is a stretch.
I think it'd be on target.
It's a good season. It's a good season.
Unbelievable is kind of a stretch.
You don't.
Yeah, but I think
Unbelievable if Chelsea goes second.
Well,
You win the Conference League.
that's unbelievable.
So yeah, I think it's.
Are you still in? Are you still in the FA Cup? Are you in it? You're not in the FA Cup.
No, we're in the FA Cup, not in the League Cup.
Okay.
Obviously, could win the Conference League. But before the Conference League started, I obviously said, let's get to the semis. After seeing the quality, I think we have to win that no matter what happens when you look at the depth of our squad. Premier League, I think had we been on the outsides of a title race, that would have been unbelievable. Actually, where we are is probably where I see this Chelsea squad being right now in terms of challenging 5th, 4th in the Prem. Felt about right. But when you spend 60 million on Pedro Neto in the summer and you add that into the team that finished 6th last season, and they're also another year on, maybe Chelsea should be doing better than challenging or being on the outside of a chance top 4.
The second half of your season was quite strong, right? So
I think we were top 3 on the form.
Yeah. So it's like Arsenal had a strong second half of last season as well. But when this is why it's weird when they compare the first half of last season to the first half of this season and say we're on the same number of points, because actually what you really should be doing is comparing against your more recent results, i.e. the end of last season, which was really good, and the start of this season, which hasn't been really good.
So this fixture last year was one of our last games of the season. Casado scored from the halfway line and we played Bournemouth off the park. Very comfortable win. It wasn't that this time round, which may show to some people that Chelsea are regressing currently under Enzo Maresca. I'm not sure. I think this might be a blip. Hopefully.
That was also a Bournemouth that were kind of stuck in limbo. Like they couldn't go
on holiday.
Yeah, they couldn't go any higher. They couldn't go any lower.
True. Yeah, it's very true.
Exactly. That's what.
I wanted to respond to the Kai before I go to respond to C's super chat. Mo, you can't say that Maresca's wrong if Jackson scores his many chances, he gets the games over. But, which is what Dan pointed, you might have been 2-0 up, but still Bournemouth scored 2 goals. Because even if Chelsea were 3-0 up and Bournemouth got it to 3-2, that is a dangerous score line. You don't agree that you were wide open in the second half, that Bournemouth got the lead. So even at 2-0 up, Bournemouth would have gotten back into the game at 2-2. Yes, the game would have been different, but the reality is when he didn't score, Bournemouth completely dominated the beginning of the second half. That's why they scored 2 goals. Let me thank you, C, for the super chat. I don't blame Enzo for that game. Jackson had a clear-cut clearance chances and misses them yet again. Get me an actual striker, and it's 3-0 in the first half. And again, see, it's the same situation. Why is the midfield wide open in the second half when you're 1-0 up? Why there is not enough coverage in that midfield? Why is Semenyo going on a Chimpong 1-on-1? And he smoked him. And I can't blame the kid, by the way. I'm not going to blame the kid. Semenyo 1-on-1 inside the 18
as well. Like earlier on, before this December, early Jan spell, Chelsea were scoring those goals. Jackson was on fire. He was scoring goals and a number of other players were sort of chipping in. then Chelsea would go and outscore their opponents, but still make mistake. And that was what I was saying. And people were saying, no, it's not true. But I kept saying there are issues with Chelsea defensively. And the moment the goals dry up, you will start to see Chelsea not winning these games. And nothing's changed defensively. We're still conceding goals, but the goals have dried up. And now we're dropping points because of it. And that is literally what is happening. And that's why there was a cry for another striker in the summer.
I said this on your previous show, Mo, and I think I ended up getting into an argument. I literally said Chelsea won't be challenging because their defence concedes too many chances. It's just the XG against you hadn't added up.
Yeah, we were nine. We were exceeding it by like 9 goals.
Yeah.
We were
second from bottom. Second from bottom in the difference between your XG conceded and the goals scored against you. See, then it wouldn't have been 2-0 in the second half because they would have had any momentum after a 3-0 after the first half. Sorry, I don't buy it. So people don't see the defensive issues at Chelsea and the midfield problem. People only want to look at Chelsea going forward and creating chances. That people don't want to see the defensive issues. I don't understand.
I do hear what he's saying, but I think people need to be aware that Chelsea's weakest area of the pitch is when this Chelsea team are in transition defensively and that fullback is inverted. A number of issues have been caused for Chelsea this season by that exact sort of moment. And I think we're so weak in that moment. Teams are capitalizing on it now.
Yeah, but isn't that also because you don't have a first back line? Like, I've seen the back line change multiple times.
Yeah,
sometimes it's Tosin, then it's Disasi. Disasi isn't good either.
I mean,
then Levi Cole plays as a wing back, as a centre back, and that's Maresca's fault again. So,
yes, and injuries. And I think,
injuries as well.
Fana Badashile was starting to sort of nail something down just before Christmas. And then obviously both of them got injured. And Levi Colwell obviously has been playing as well. It's difficult for him. And obviously the injuries are an issue. But at the same time, he's a little bit of a tinkerer. Like some games he'll try something, next game he'll switch it up, Tosin will come in. So I buy that as well. I think you're better off having, as inexperienced as it is, a consistent back line as much as possible. It never helps. I mean, that just shows the level Van Dijk's at, because I think how many times has Van Dijk played alongside a different centre-back and still look class? And that just shows someone like Levi Colwell, who's so inexperienced, he doesn't quite look as good, does he?
Played on his own.
Yeah, that's
for
right?
40 minutes.
He said literally wouldn't have been an issue if we scored our chances in the first half. And no one disagreeing with that. Okay, no one disagreeing with this.
Can I just say something about Bournemouth, though, with what people are saying? This Bournemouth side have come back from decent deficits this season and won games. Yeah. Did they not beat Everton?
Yeah,
from behind or not? Or did that happen earlier on in the season? Like, this is a team that don't give up. People are writing them off.
Yeah. They won Everton. It was 1-0.
They play right to the end.
Played them twice already.
By the way,
they scored in the last 10
get
minutes.
what he's saying, but you cannot always rely on your forward scoring all the chances they get. You just can't rely. You need to be able to protect a lead in a 1-0 lead. You're not going to outscore every single opponent.
Yeah, so beginning of the season, in August, Everton 2-0 up going into the last 10 minutes of the game in injury time. Bournemouth score 3 goals. This is a team that fight to the end, don't stop until the final whistle. This is a team that even if they're 2 goals down, 3 goals down, they don't give up. And I think the quality is shown in that side as well, that they're capable of taking their chances. So, look, you can if buts are maybe the whole thing, but it's what's happening in front of the manager's eyes that's happening right there and then. The chances have been missed. You need to then be proactive and react to getting your team the result, no matter what's happened. And I just don't feel like we've seen enough from Maresca. The subs happen. Can we talk about the subs? The subs, I feel like we've spoken about Chelsea loads here, but we go 2-1 down. He drags the centre-back off for Tosin instead of making attacking changes. That's just
because he was afraid.
Yeah,
he was afraid, and Tosin came on and looked better. Yes, I agree with that sub. Dan, I completely disagree with you. I agree with that sub.
I think
because Achimpong, I think Tosin a little bit gave you a chance to stay in the game. You could have. I think that sub was 100% correct.
So, do you think from that he'll learn that he now cannot trust Achimpong to start in these games, and he's going to have to go Tosin from the start?
I'm going to repeat myself again. The problem at Chelsea is not personnel and defensive. The problem at Chelsea...
or the
The
disbalance.
problem at Chelsea, yes, is tactics. Is the tactical tweaks in that midfield, the coverage, the amount the opposition had, the amount of spaces the opposition has in transition, as you said that. It is not a personal issue. Any defender in the league, bar Van Dijk, will get smoked 1-on-1. Any defender in the league, bar none, maybe Saliba, and you don't have a Saliba. Any defender, even Saliba, by the way, against Southampton, when he's left 1-on-1, he got smoked. Any coach in the world never asks his defenders to defend 1-on-1. You barely, once in a generation, you get a Van Dijk that is able to defend 1-on-1. Tell me a defender in the history of the sport that is able to defend for the whole game 1-on-1. Tell me one defender that you remember in the history.
It's always a measure of last resort, right? If it's you're getting into the last 15 minutes of a game, for example, and you need a goal to either win the game or draw the game, well, that's when you're willing to take those additional risks because you don't have any other choice. You always, if any other time, if it's a normal period of the game, you always have one more player back than you have in attack.
We all learned that.
Yeah,
but
that's
Chelsea
very
at
true.
some point, because Caicedo was on an island by himself for Lavia, because Cole Palmer is 100% offensive player, and Enzo Fernandez is an 80% offensive, 20% defensive. In transition, Chelsea has a problem. If the opposition commit player in transition, it's a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4 if one of the fullbacks is up. And that is a problem that Maresca need to figure out. Nobody defends like that. For 90 minutes, you want to be defending with one defensive midfielder. And to be honest with you guys, for every Chelsea fan, Caicedo has been making mistakes. And I don't know if it's because Enzo Maresca is switching in between a midfielder, a right back.
Yeah, I think that's an issue.
Yeah.
And also, I think the reason why he's forcing Caicedo into right back is because Lavia came back fit, and then he had an issue with who is he going to play now? Is he going to drop the captain Enzo? Is he going to play Lavia? Obviously, Lavia had the fitness issues, but I think Chelsea played the best football when it was literally just Enzo and when it was Lavia and Caicedo, and I think it was only like a few games. But when these two played, it worked perfectly, and
They had a really good game.
then again,
us, but
that was
Apologies.
because it was more. That was because they were more
And
defensively.
Enzo Fernandez was out of the team at
Exactly,
that moment.
because of a short injury or whatever.
And what
That's
it
when
did
I saw
was
you
it
play.
allowed those two playing in DM together meant that he didn't need to invert his fullbacks, and they played a
Exactly.
more natural
Yes,
role.
yes,
It just looked a lot
yes.
more balanced, and I don't
Caicedo
think
had
I
a-
think you're spot on,
Had
by
a
the way.
cracking game against us.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I got cut out. My internet just went off completely before it comes back. I don't know which part, but I assume that you guys are picking up the point because you're speaking about the same point. And he needs to figure it out, to be honest. But Chelsea need to buy a striker. Forget that guy Tell from Bayern Munich. Selling Kunku, buy a number 9, bro. Go get Osimhen. Go get somebody to put the ball in the back of the net.
Amaridian.
I don't know.
different profile
Duran
would be
again?
needed.
Buy Duran again?
Yeah,
Try for
I don't.
Duran again?
If he was the right profile at the start of the season in the summer, before he showed how good he was again this season, why is he still not the right profile? Even if he's gone up,
They
30
want
million, right?
100 million for him now.
I think
They won't
it's
sell him
got
now.
to the point where Chelsea have obviously got to go and buy another striker, and obviously if Duran was still the right profile, he's still the right profile no matter what the price is. He's not got worse.
100%. Chelsea need that. But listen, guys, for Chelsea, I'm gonna do another stream tomorrow. We'll talk about Chelsea as well. Then I know you gotta go in a minute if you want to go. But I wanted to touch a little bit on Man City before we go to Liverpool. Nobody is now scared of Man City to go in the title race. You literally saved Chelsea. Yeah, I know Dan has to drop. Yeah. Okay, good. Chelsea were lucky that you didn't win. You bottled the lead. If you guys have watched Man City, this game could have ended 5-5.
Yeah.
5-5.
Yeah.
That defense is wide open, to be honest. Is wide open. And
Yes.
I don't think that can continue, to be honest. However, you're gonna get top 4 and
Yeah,
I don't think
definitely.
it doesn't matter. Unless are Man City in fear of not getting top 4? Anybody think that Man City can not get top 4?
Everyone's
I
saying
think that's-
that just does not like Man City. We are definitely
Mm.
getting top 4 because we've
No,
seen Chelsea's form, and above them is only Liverpool and Arsenal. I think it's only Liverpool and Arsenal that are going to potentially be above us at the end of the season. I don't see Bournemouth going all the way, Nottingham going all the way. At some point, we're going to figure it out. And I think the issue we had today is not only our defense not being the best for the past 5 months, we literally played in the FA Cup. And yes, everyone else, Liverpool played in the FA Cup, but we are with all these struggles we had in a mental state where once we concede when we're up, our heads just it's a mental thing as well. And let's not forget that Brentford is literally the strongest home team this season. So
They've scored
I
42
think
goals, Brentford, this season.
exactly. And I
To
think
be honest with you, Wissa and Mbuemo literally
they gave us so
danced,
many issues.
danced
It was,
around that City defense, bro. Just
yeah, it
danced
was
around
it
them.
was
It
really
was. I'm looking at the game and I'm like, how would these two always have spaces inside the 18? Always have spaces
Yeah.
inside the 18. They are magnificent, to be honest.
yeah.
But you get Omar Marmoush, you got another that's that
Yeah.
centre back from
The
Lens.
Alvarez replacement, the centre back from Lens. Then I think in the summer we're getting the Brazilian centre back who was linked to Real Madrid. So long term, these are good signings, but they won't impact our season straight away. Probably only Marmoush if he comes in. But then again, the goals aren't the issue anymore because before
Mamouche
the
has
new
stopped
year
scoring,
started,
by the way.
pardon?
And he scored.
Mamouche has stopped scoring goals, by the way.
Didn't he score
Recently.
yesterday?
He
Didn't
scored an
yesterday?
assist
No.
today. He scored an
Yeah,
assist
he
today.
scored today. I saw
Did he
that.
score
An
today?
assist.
Yeah,
He scored
just
and assisted
tonight.
today.
Yeah, but then again, we don't need goals from him. We just need.
Mr. Egyptian fan knows he knows the Egyptian players.
I think
Ah.
the goals we
Scored a winner
don't
then.
need that anymore. We've seen Haaland go back to scoring, KDB creating chances, Foden scoring as well, Savinho in a good form ever since Pep changed him from the right to the left. The issue is still the midfield, and I think even yes, Brentford was a good team. Brentford had chances every now and then, but once we went up 2-0, we had to see out the game. And the reason why we didn't see out the game, in my opinion, was Pep, because the substitutions he made, in my opinion, weren't the right ones. And bringing Gundogan off the bench when Brentford is super physical, Brentford is stronger than us, quicker than us, we are getting caught in transition permanently, is not the right thing to do. And then I think he brought on McAtee too late. I just don't know if it's.
But you have to be honest. City did not deserve the lead. You were not the best team on the pitch.
Oh, well,
Brentford were creating
nah,
chances
no,
after
I don't
chances after
agree. I
chances.
don't agree because
Oh
first
my
half,
word.
first half, both teams created chances. They just looked more dangerous. I think if Nunes
Exactly
gets a shot,
my point.
if Nunes gets a shot off, then we're leading 1-0.
But he didn't. They did shoot, and your goalkeeper had to save. That's the difference. They were the better team
Yes,
on the pitch.
but I think they were across the
They were
entire
the more
game. The
dangerous
draw
team.
across the entire game, the draw is fair because Savinho had a few shots where he could have squared it to Haaland. And even if you look at the stats, I think both of us had like around 2.4, 2.5. I just think towards after we scored the first goal, obviously we lost control. And then when we scored the second goal, we had control again. And then when we conceded, it was poor by Ake. I don't know what he was doing. The positioning wasn't good.
Ake and Akanji,
even-
bro. They have
Even Akanji as well. But then again, I think
Is he
all
lagging or
this-
it's only me?
is it?
Yeah, you're lagging a
A
little
little
bit.
bit. Yeah, a little bit.
It felt like Man City felt like, the final game where they just fell to pieces.
Yeah.
They can see
Yeah.
with a goal.
It's
It
the
did feel
mental
like that.
thing. Lead and you concede, and then that's just how I see it. Obviously, our defense. Yeah, go on.
This is why I don't think you can take City finishing in the Champions League places for granted, because over the years I've been very complimentary about City. I think this Man City team, or the Man City team that Pep's built, I think is the best team in Premier League history. I think some of the stuff they've done is incredible. Some of the football they've played is incredible.
A
This
treble
is
was
not
insane.
that. This is not that Man City side. This is they're doing some of the same things. They're a shell. What's the saying? They're something of their former selves, a ghost of their former selves, however you want to describe it. Newcastle have momentum. Arsenal have points, and Chelsea have points ahead of them. Now it's not a massive gap. I agree, and Chelsea are looking fragile. But I mean, despite the fact that I thought we were by far the better team against Forest as the game overall, Forest aren't. I don't think Forest are necessarily going to go anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
Now, and you can. I think you can say that Pep will solve the problem. And if I had to put money on it, I would say yes, he will, just because he's Pep Guardiola. But I don't think you can take that for granted, because what I see from City now is a team that can basically be bullied everywhere in any part of the pitch, by any team. I could see you going like what the game you had against West Ham and the game against Leicester. Those games could have very easily gone the other way. City won them.
I'm Fulham.
But
I'm
yeah,
Fulham.
and City won them, and they won them fair and square, and fair enough. But both of those teams had good opportunities and good play. They were playing through the midfield without much, like cutting through like knife like butter through like a hot knife through butter. And the signings that you've made, I think the jury will be out on them. They may well prove to be good signings long term, which is fine. But I think I've said for the last few weeks, I expect City to go big in the next two windows. So this window and the summer window. I expect you to probably spend around £300 million. If you don't have Champions League football, that's going to affect how much money you can spend, and that's going to
I
affect
think
your rebuild, because City do need a rebuild. I don't
think
think
you're gonna.
anything can be taken for granted at this stage.
I think City are probably going to lose about 5 players as well, and they're all big players like that have been absolute legends for them. Your Walker's going to go, your goalkeeper's going to go, De Bruyne is
Bernardo
probably going
Silva's
to
been looking
go.
out for a way out for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah, there's
So
Gundogan's gonna walk again. Like you're going to lose some big players, but that is some rebuild you've got on there. And the thing about City, and this is something which I've never seen before, is you go a goal down and you look like you're going to capitulate. And I've never seen a City like that, because they've never been used to going goals down, like in some of the timelines that there are. Like City never go a goal down in halfway into the second half, because they've normally battered the other team to submission, and they normally score 2 quick goals. Like they only ever do that against some of the big teams, and it's normally like Tottenham or Liverpool or someone like that. But this season, honestly, you go a goal down and you look all over the shop, and you could easily lose any game that you're in. And I think that's just wild.
yeah.
Don't know
I
how
don't
you're
want
going
to
to
keep.
change that.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's Pep Guardiola, and I
know.
think it's Pep Guardiola, and I will never rule him out. I'm ruling him out from the title completely, but not from the top 4, not even from second place.
Pep's gone through a lot though in his life as well. His personal life's a bit up in the air. You've got these charges hanging over him. There's a lot of stuff going on that you think the noise isn't getting to the team.
Yeah.
I think the noise probably is.
I wanted to go to Liverpool, because I don't want to keep this show for long, guys.
Are you dropping off? Are you? Is he dropping off? Sorry.
Who's dropping off?
I thought he was going. Sorry, I was going to say
no. I want to go to Liverpool a little bit and talk about the title race. Does that leave the door open for Arsenal, or you guys are still confident?
Still confident, no doubt.
2 points from 6, huh?
Yeah, but the thing is, look, football's a low-scoring sport. So in any given game, even if you're the better team, you can drop points. What I've seen from us this season is we're consistently, almost in every game, we're the better team. And therefore, that gives me some solace. That gives me, in my mind,
Can you define the better team, please? Can you define the better team?
We create more chances. We're more stable defensively in general. We've lost a little bit more recently, but first half of the season we were very solid defensively. I see that when we need to make tactical adjustments, Slot steps up. He makes the tactical adjustments. We saw that today, but we've also seen it many other times this season. And whereas in recent weeks people have talked about us maybe losing some energy or showing some lethargy, I think today, for example, we proved that actually we're fine. There's going to be games potentially where there's up and down, but it was a good performance today. We didn't get the 3 points, but it doesn't concern me too much. I think obviously we need to kind of make sure that it doesn't happen too often, but I don't think it will happen too often.
I've got a slightly different outlook on that, by the way.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
sorry.
so.
Before you really thought this today was a good performance.
Yeah,
You were
Today
so
was-
lethargic
was.
and slow in the first
Especially
half.
The first half. The first
You
half
were
was
Okay.
so
shocking.
slow
First half-
and lethargic in the first half.
but
We're still the better team in
I
the first
agree.
half.
No, you
yeah,
weren't. No, you weren't. No, you
Yeah,
weren't
we
the
were.
better team. Having more of the ball doesn't mean you're the better team. You were
Okay,
so
but they-
slow in that
Exactly.
first half.
We had
No.
three
Okay,
big
but,
chances in the first
okay.
15 minutes. We should have scored maybe two of those.
At best, it was a level first half. They were winning, so they had the goal, but they weren't. Mo, do you think they were like way, way, way ahead of us in the first half?
No,
were they a
I
far
thought-
We
better
didn't
team?
have a single
You know
shot
what?
on target in
Big
the
shots
first
in the
half.
whole
You know
game,
what? I
though.
haven't spoken about Forest. Did you notice? I haven't spoken about Forest. I mentioned that Liverpool were so slow in the first half, and I didn't mention Forest. Did you notice? I didn't say Forest were better than you or worse than you. I'm talking about Liverpool as a team. You were very, very slow in the first half, before and after the goal, by the way. And especially after the goal, even the commentators were saying, well, Liverpool looks so slow. Why are they standing on why is Van Dijk standing on the ball? Why is Robertson cannot cross the ball and he's choosing to pass the ball? How many times the ball went back to Alisson, Konate, Van Dijk from the front line because he can't find the space?
Can I talk on the game, and then we can talk about
I am talking on the game.
I mean, you're talking about individual people and stuff now. I just want to talk about the game in general. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course.
Look, at the end of the day, Nottingham Forest are second place in the league now. Okay, Nottingham Forest haven't lost a game since Manchester City in December. Like, they are on a unbelievable run. They are full of confidence. They don't seem to concede many goals. Like, I think there's only us and Arsenal that have conceded less goals than them. Like, they are a very, very good side. They've got a very strong back four. They've got a good goalkeeper on form, and they play a really low block type of football where they just push the wingers out. Like, the wingers go, and they've got really lightning fast wingers. Look, today felt like Manchester United at home. The players looked complacent. The same usual suspects were letting us down. We seem to have an Achilles heel when we play Trent. That's just the way it is. Okay, like, I'm blaming Trent. I'm blaming Konate. A combination for that goal. Like, I blame Trent for the Manchester United game because of his lackadaisical defending. Like, that's just the way it is. But if you just look at the game fully, Slot was brave in the second half when he brought his subs on. He took off a defender, he put another striker on, and we completely dominated the game. We scored the goal and then had 13 shots straight after that. Straight after that goal, 13 shots. Jota had 22 touches of the ball, 8 in the box, 2 big chances, scored a goal, and created a big chance. Like,
There's a
it
few
was
off the
played by
line.
the manager.
Salah-
We should have won
Salah-
that game. The XG was two goals. The XG, like, we should have won that game.
But this is what I mean, Mo. Ultimately, if we keep doing that, we'll win the vast majority of games,
Yeah.
and that's why. And I don't know if the other teams are capable of doing that, and so therefore, I think we're okay.
I think
we'll be
Arsenal
fine.
is.
Forest
I
were
think
hanging
Arsenal
on
is.
for dear life. Like, they were hanging on for dear life for like the last 15 minutes. Like, their goalkeeper had another game of his life. This is what happens with Liverpool. It seems to be a familiar thing. Goalkeepers.
Would you guys say the
get into
same
their
for
lives.
Arsenal against Man United, for example, when they had abundance of chances?
Well, one player.
Would that be the same
but
narrative?
it's a bit different with a cup game though, because cup game you lose, you're out.
So if
Arsenal
Arsenal
deserve to win.
if Arsenal create a lot of chances, would that be the same?
Arsenal deserve to win, but ultimately they're out of the competition completely. We didn't win today, but we're not out of the Premier League. We're still in a very good position. We've, on paper, as far as the Premier League is concerned, we've played our hardest away game because Forest are second in the league.
You still have to play
as it stands right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Look. That's why I said on paper. Ultimately, we may have to go to the Etihad. If City are playing like they're playing now, I think we'll beat you.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will beat City.
If City improve, then it will be a lot more difficult. Arsenal have to come to Anfield. If they don't strengthen significantly, they've got serious injury concerns. If the league is not over by that point, then I still think we can beat them. But that's the second last game of the season. By that point, we should have a pretty good idea of who's going to win the league, whether it be them, us, or whoever.
So the problem is scoring goals for Liverpool before Jota came in, because you scored from a corner. If Salah is not scoring the goal,
we scored more goals than any other team. We scored 48 goals. We scored more goals than
because Salah was on form. Salah was on form. But if Salah is not on form, who's scoring the goal? NJ, you're lagging, friend, again. Yes. If Salah is not scoring like today, who's scoring the goal? Yeah, Jota scored from a corner. But if Salah doesn't score like today, he's off today.
He could have had a hat-trick today, Mo.
But he didn't.
The goalie pulled off 2 worldies. That's not going to happen every game.
One of them was shot at him in his leg.
No, that was a brilliant save. Yeah,
he made himself bigger, I guess.
But Mo, we've seen in recent weeks that Gakpo has stepped up and started scoring goals. Jota has just come back from injury, scored today. So I don't think there's that much of an issue. Look, the Salah's individual numbers are incredible, absolutely brilliant, right? But the vast majority of the season has been played with initially Diaz playing on the left side, and then Gakpo potentially coming in and taking that position. So if you look at goals per position, which is Mo Salah has got the right wing locked down, so he's not sharing his minutes on the right wing with anybody.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
If you look at the number of goals coming from our left winger, whether that be whether that be Gakpo, whether that be Diaz, or even any other player, it's a lot closer, right? Where we actually are lacking goals is from our centre forward.
Yeah.
From our but I think I right now I'm not super concerned. Right now I'm not super concerned.
Did you actually think we played a centre forward in the first half? Didn't?
No, Diaz was way to the left and outside the box.
Way too deep.
Yeah.
You know who was crashing the box all the time? It was Szoboszlai, occupying that area more than Diaz. Szoboszlai was crashing the 18.
Crosses in, and there was no one there to.
Yeah, I don't know why. You play Brentford the next game, away from home. If you don't win that game and Arsenal win, they are closing on 1 point or 2 points behind you, with your game in hand being Everton away at Goodison Park. I don't think Arsenal are good. By the way, I don't think that Arsenal
going to play up front now. Are they going to play Sterling up front? They're going
to play Havertz. I don't think Arsenal are good. But the problem is if Liverpool keep leaving the door open, maybe Arsenal, if they sign a striker, can go on a run. Maybe they can catch up to you. You're leaving the door open to them. You dropped 4 points in the last 2 games. And the problem with me is that Salah, to be honest, if that contract thing is not resolved, I think that is a problem at Liverpool. That is just, it's not in the game, but I believe there is something in the guy's head. And it should. He was not clinical today.
But it'll become a problem if we make it a problem. It'll become a problem
which
if
is,
Salah,
the club is very known to make things
Salah,
problems.
Well, no, but I mean, is it really?
The club is known.
No, but I don't. Whether does this kind of stuff actually translate to poor performances on the pitch? When Salah is going through 1-on-1, is he thinking, "Oh damn, I hope I sign my contract before the end of the season"?
It's not 100% focused, and these football players.
The problem.
But we also know Salah is an ultra professional. right? We
Yes.
see it on social media. We see it in everything that he does. The one thing that's got him to where he is at the age of 32 years old is his meticulous preparation, physically, mentally, all the stuff he's talked about it in the media and all the stuff he does. Even on social media, you can see he's always in the gym, always doing stuff, always working on it. So I understand people would think that's a possibility, and it has happened to other players. But when we see the actual person, there's no sign that that's an issue. Same with Van Dijk. There's no sign. Trent, maybe not. Who knows? But I'm going to give him. I'm going to not
Trent
mention
today
Trent.
was cooked. Trent today was cooked. And by the way, there is another thing that Hussam keeps saying about Trent. Today, how many diagonal balls he played that were too long for Gakpo? He's trying to go for that killer diagonal ball many times. Bro, stop it. Just pass the simple ones. Play with Salah, the 1-2s,
But-
make the overlaps. Why
but
are you
also-
trying the hard ones?
Can I-
Who are you trying to show your abilities? Bro, you won the Champions League and the Premier League before.
I know.
You were one of the best right backs in the world. Don't show anybody anything. You don't need to do that.
Can I
And I kept thinking that in my head. I'm like, you don't have to show anybody anything, bro. He's just
He
a
doesn't have to
good
prove
player.
anything. Like with the Hollywood passing, he doesn't have to prove that. Like he doesn't need to do the Hollywood shit constantly. Like he was doing it in the last 10 minutes. He was just pinging balls into the box that were just getting headed straight back out. Can I just mention the Salah thing?
Yes.
And look, I'm not doing a Debbie Downer on Liverpool, by the way, Rax, but I do have a worry that we are going to see the same old Salah in the second half of the season. And this is the worry I've got. He goes cold the second half of the season, and we all seem to blame it on the AFCON, and he gets tired. He just goes cold. Like he does it every other season. Like the numbers drop, the assists drop. Like today, how many clear-cut assists could he have got by just passing the ball? And he was trying to get that goal. And I'm like, that's not what you've been like this season, Salah. You know it's a hard shot. So you've gone, I'm weighing up my odds here. I can't get that in the top bin. I'm not going to be able to put it in the bottom corner. I'm going to square it. But he skied it
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Okay.
I do worry that he gets into that snatch mode again. And the other worry I've got is we don't have strikers that can fill his boots at the end of the season. We didn't have it with Núñez and we didn't have it with Diaz last year and the year before. They didn't get enough goals to get us over the line. And my worry is we don't have that again from them. But a positive is we do have a fit Jota. And Chiesa, by the way. Like Chiesa looks good.
Yeah, look.
Why Chiesa didn't
Yeah,
get any minutes today is beyond me. Like
I was a bit sad about that. Maybe he's saving a little bit for maybe easier games. But also, I think Gakpo will have a say as well. I think Gakpo's the third
Yes.
best finisher in our team,
Yeah.
and I think he's capable of chipping in with goals as well.
Do you know what
I
Liverpool
think this-
need? 100%. A number 9. You need a
well, we could do with
prolific
playing
number
our
9.
striker as a number 9 because we didn't do that today.
Who's striker?
First half.
Jota.
No,
They are
Diaz,
afraid.
We didn't play him up front. It's
Yeah, they are afraid to play him. They're afraid to start him.
weird. I think he is afraid
be
to
honest-
start Jota. I think he is afraid
Yes.
to play Jota.
Yeah, he is afraid. I really think that Liverpool should go and fork money in this market to get a striker. Whoever he is, I don't know. I'm not a scout again. They should find the right one for Arne Slot to play because someone need to take the goals of Salah, the weight of Salah and of Gakpo and Diaz. Diaz today played as a striker. He doesn't want to be in the box. He wants to receive the ball outside the box.
Yeah.
It's very obvious. He doesn't want to play there. And because he doesn't trust Darwin Núñez, and Darwin Núñez was suspended anyway, he's not going to play Darwin Núñez. It has to be Jota. And Jota's made of what? Like, Jota might get injured again, and then you're going to be struggling again playing Diaz or Darwin Núñez. Liverpool need a striker, to be honest.
We don't, unless a player goes, and I can't see anyone going apart from Núñez. We're not bringing in a striker. I'm not sure if we'll bring anybody in, but
You don't think we're
We
going to
shall
bring
see.
that Greek lad in?
maybe yeah, or maybe we leave him on loan for the season or whatever. Apparently,
I've got to be honest.
amongst the analytics,
Like I've got to be honest, I don't know why we don't try and get Jonathan David. I just don't know why we don't just try and get him. Like he's available on a free transfer at the end of the year. Throw some money at him now. Like get him. He scores
We'll probably
loads of
take it.
goals. He's a really tricky player. He reminds me a little bit of Nkunku. Like, we wanted Nkunku instead of Nunes. Like, so go and get Jonathan David.
I know this Greek kid. He's very young, and he plays in Bundesliga too. But
Played in the
from
second division.
some of the stats stuff, but some of the stats profiles that I've seen him, they rate him as being very promising. He's only I think 20 years old, so he's young. But they profile him as like a Jota type. Whether he makes a step up, I don't know.
I agree with Mickey M. I think Dan. I think we brought Dan's on in the last 10 minutes. I think he would have won the game.
Yeah, I like Dan.
I genuinely do. There's something about him. There's really something about him. There's really something about Dan's that just makes me think this.
It's all about Arsenal tomorrow. Can Arsenal put the pressure on Liverpool? I think we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. Can Arsenal? I think they're gonna win the game tomorrow. To be honest,
I don't think so.
Tottenham?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think
so.
Tottenham at home. Arsenal are gonna smash Tottenham tomorrow. You guys will see. two plus goal margins tomorrow for Arsenal.
Mean, but if they don't, Mo, it's gonna be an entertaining. It's gonna be an entertaining Wednesday night, Thursday daytime for you. I think
it's gonna be absolutely entertaining. Absolutely. But listen, people, before we go on, guys, we're not even on 200 likes yet. Hit that like button underneath your live chat. Come on, guys, hit that like button. Let's get to 200 likes. We have still over 300 people here. This stream will take you to Nobbins if he's still live, if I'm not mistaken. Nobbins and LB are still going live. This will take you to them. Thank you, Rax, for being here. K-Mac, brilliant, my man. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Always glad to have you back as well. Omar is saying, Chiesa, Premier League material. Jota should have had a winner. Jota had a couple of chances. Should have won, Omar. Thank you for the super chat, Omar. Appreciate you so much. Absolutely fantastic as well. Let me just put the channels of K-Mac channel in the description as well. NJ channel in the description as well, guys. Go and support him. Of course, Sky Blue, NJ in the description as well. Go and support the guy. And just also Dan.
Big up everyone that supports and follows me. Big up.
Big up everyone. Thank you for coming. Smash the likes, guys.
Go and support the man's guy. Go support the guys there. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for a solo stream as well when we talk with each other. I will see you guys soon. We are out of here, people.